go. The mud race from Anaheim. Stewart gets a terrible start. Not that bad. He comes back to the inside, and then Reed. Stewart comes in second. Millsaps have the lead for a minute, and now Stewart starts to pull away, and here comes Reed battling back. He's in about sixth position. Josh Grant gets close to the top blocks, holds on to third, and now becomes a challenge. Millsaps for second.
And I'm telling you, for our points leader and our reigning champion, Chad Reed, he was way behind at the drop of the gate. He was last place going into the first turn. Now he's setting in fifth position, making a charge on fourth.
Josh Grant, who won here in Anaheim the first time we visited Angel Stadium back to the first weekend in January, set sail. As it looks like maybe Alessi on the 800 cal with Suzuki going down in the corner there. Can't get the bike going.
Wow, the troubles for Mike Alessi tonight. He's got great starts, but been on the ground twice.
James Stewart trying to give Yamaha a complete sweep of Anaheim this year. And a complete sweep of the season if he can hang on.
Well, and that's really has been the story for Yamaha, is the starts of James Stewart and Josh Grant in the main events have been exceptional, whereas for Chad Reed, the reigning champion, his starts in the main event have not been up to par.
You can see he's right behind Kevin Windham on the number 14 Geico Power Sports Honda. And Reed riding not his normal race bike, but his practice bike.
Well, the testing machine, which is set up essentially the exact same, but definitely comfortable here tonight. Oh, he makes a little mistake in the rhythm section.
Jeff, a lot of that comes down to personal preferences. We talked to Mike Gosler, his mechanic, about that earlier today. You see Ivan Tedesco, Windham, and then here's Reed.
Well, definitely Gosler is one of those mechanics that has multiple championships. Chad Reed's looking to him for guidance, for help, to help get his third Supercross championship. It has really been tough the last 2 or 3 weeks, but we did speak with Mike, and he says, look, the last couple of weeks, some things haven't been right, but we think that we have them right this week. So we'll see what Chad Reed can do here in the next 17 laps to see if he can mount a charge for the lead, because right now Stewart is out front, and he is gone, turning the best lap of the main event, a 1:01.1. Chad Reed at a 1:01.9. So Chad Reed much faster than the riders that are second through fifth just in front of him.
Reed trying to get around Windham. Went to the outside, cuts back inside, comes over the double and takes a position away from Windham. So that'll move Reed up to fifth place now. And he'll start to go to work on Ivan Tedesco on that number 9.
And how about Tedesco this season? He has put himself in such a great position. It's been such a frustrating career since he's moved up from the lights. But now this season, he really has got things working good. Put him in a great ride here tonight, running in fourth. But I'm telling you, Chad Reed is on the gas. He's going to have his hands full with the reigning champion.
Right now, as you see it, Stewart would take over the points lead from Reed. Reed gets around Tedesco. That'll help him out some. It gives him 2 points. He'd still be 1 point behind Stewart.
So yeah, as they run right now, and Chad Reed's well aware of that, but hasn't this just been the story of the year for Chad Reed? He's put in these great rides, but I keep coming back to it. It's that you can't give a rider like James Stewart, well, I should say he's taking it. He's taking the start. Okay, at the top of the gate, he wants that. He's going out there and grabbing it. But for Chad Reed, you can't give a rider like James Stewart that sort of head start.
Can't give him any breaks.
Yeah, no breaks at all. Yeah.
9 and 14, Ivan Tedesco and Kevin Windham battling over. Should be fifth position here.
Couple of red riders. We got Ivan Tedesco riding the Red Bull Honda, Windham on the Geico Power Sports Honda. So 2 separate teams, but Honda works together with both of these teams. They share information. They work together in this Supercross here to put the best bikes on the track that they can. But just an interesting scenario there.
The more important battle on the racetrack is this one for third. This is going to be Reed and Millsaps, as Heath Voss has problems. Reed needs to get around Millsaps.
Millsap's having a great night here. Definitely with the starts, that's been key.
This would be a huge move for the championship points battle. It'll put him back into the points lead in front of Stewart if he can just get around Millsaps. And remember, Millsaps came off of a season-best finish of 8th at San Francisco a week ago, and his first heat race win of the year earlier here tonight. So Millsaps riding stronger. How much of the fact that Millsaps is running good here in the mud has anything to do with his size? Anything? He is one of the bigger riders.
He triples by.
Oh, look at that. There it is. Put Reed back into the points lead.
Well, I think the old adage back in the 70s and 80s is that a taller rider really had an advantage, but I don't think so these days. And, you know, the taller the rider, the bigger the boot that you have. You know, Millsaps, I'm going to venture to say he wears an 11 or 12, and so on a muddy night like this, you get into some of these ruts, catch your toe in the mud, it rips your leg off, you know, rips your boot off. So it almost, you know, I would say that it would be a disadvantage.
Back to the battle between Tedesco and the number 9. Kevin Windham on the number 14. Windham's such an interesting story, Jeff. He's such a great rider, such a nice guy, a true fan favorite. Not one of those riders that you ever hear anybody booing when he gets through rider introductions.
Well, that's consistency and effort over such a long career. 94 when he became a professional. And, I mean, he started races before Ricky Carmichael and is racing after Ricky Carmichael. What's that say? You know?
Here's a battle between Matt Bonney and Andrew Short. This is for 9th. Bonney holds that position right now. Short trying to take it away from him. I talked with Andrew earlier today. Here he comes, trying to get to the outside. Makes the double and takes the spot away, so move Andrew up into 9th. He said, I've spent so much time working with my new trainer, and that it's really made a difference on me mentally, and a lot of that came to racing here in the mud tonight. He said, normally I'd come to one of these mud races and I'd just be out of it, as we see Nick Way coming inside of Bonney as well, and that'll move him up a position into 10th.
Well, and you might think with Andrew Short that having to go through the LCQ and then just passing for 9th place here in the main is an off night, which it is, but without that sort of mental strength and that sort of, attention that he's paying to that race, to his racing, you know, on a night like tonight, it might be even worse. He might not have even made the main.
That new trainer, by the way, Jeff Spencer, who also works with Kevin Windham. And there you see Reed getting by Josh Grant. And that'll move him up to 2nd. And that'll, oh boy, look at Grant trying to jump back past by him.
Well, Reed made a huge mistake there, and Grant had to jump to the left, and he's so fortunate that he kept it inside the tough blocks and on 2 wheels. But look at Chad Reed. He was dead last going down the start straight. There was nobody behind him. Oh, and Grant went down at the top of your screen.
He sure did, and now you see the points have changed again. Reed back in front of the points. 3 between him and Stewart. So Stewart will continue to chip away at it. But Reed had lost it earlier tonight and gains it back. He is just relentless, isn't he?
Yeah, and notice the points as they run. You did not see Villopoto. Devastating not making it out of that LCQ.
Crashing in the LCQ. And everybody chasing this guy once again. James Stewart, so incredibly impressive. Stewart on his way to another victory here tonight. It's Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship working its way to the halfway point here in Anaheim. Here at Angel Stadium as he chases maybe another victory here tonight. He won earlier this year at Phoenix, won at Anaheim 2, won in Houston, won at San Francisco. He's on a streak going for 5 in a row.
And James Stewart just lapping 10th place, which was Nick Way, got a 10-second lead over 2nd at the 10th lap.
At the halfway point, Stewart putting on another James Stewart-esque performance, which if you've been watching Supercross for any period of time, when Stewart gets going, boy, is he devastating.
He definitely is, and this track here tonight, which was so difficult and it was so risky, some of the rhythm sections, which you had to learn quickly, this is where James Stewart just has excelled. His talent on a motorcycle and his ability to jump those rhythm sections and how he sees the track, how he trusts his skills, he has confidence in himself. I mean, we're halfway through this race, and he's already worked his way into the top 10, lapping into the top 10.
Tedesco and Millsaps, that battle now heating up as Tedesco has gotten away from Wyndham. He is now up to third as he has gotten around Millsaps, and what a great ride for Ivan Tedesco. This would be his season best finish. His best so far was a fourth-place effort at Phoenix.
Well, Ivan Tedesco had some phenomenal races here some years ago when he was a lights champion. And I'm sure that got his mojo working, and it's got to be a great feeling here because since he stepped up to the big bike class, he's had some rough rides, but 2009, he has really been dialed in. He's been smoother. I've noticed with his technique has smoothed out a lot. His riding style, and his starts have been great.
This would be a season best finish for Millsaps too. Remember, he had that just a week ago in San Francisco where he finished 8th. Bettering that by at least 4 positions right now as he sits in 4th.
And that's got to be frustrating if you won a main event, but yet to date your best finish has been an 8th. That's been a pretty frustrating season so far for Millsaps.
Well, it might be a podium finish here tonight because he's not done battling with Tedesco. These two still going at it.
You can see as they go down this rhythm section how they all just funnel right into one line here. Millsaps wanted the triple there, but Tedesco was right in the line. He made a couple of mistakes going through there. You see, typically the riders wouldn't follow like that. Millsaps is going to the inside. Oh, Tedesco also. That inside is finally dried up enough to where they can take that right-hander on the inside and get a little bit of drive for the triple.
Jeff, I've got to give a big round of applause to the guys who've worked so hard to get this track ready here tonight because they've done an excellent job of maintaining this racetrack on a very wet week here in Southern California. And now finally, as we're past the halfway point on what has been a very dry race time, the rain's starting to fall once again here in Angel Stadium. So that could change things a little bit with 8 laps to go because the track has been excellent, all things considered.
Well, and there was Ivan Tedesco just really lost traction with the rear tire in the final turn in the rain. Like you said, it's starting to come down, and what's going to make that so difficult is now the good line, the race line, is that shiny, dry line. You can see right here where Ivan Tedesco goes. That shiny line, once the rain hits that, it's going to be like ice. So with 8 laps to go,
well, here's one more thing. Oh, Tedesco stumbles coming out of that corner, and Millsaps retakes third. And Jeff, here's one other thing about that. As you see the raindrops pelting the surface here in Anaheim, you saw that mud tire that Aaron showed. Some of the guys might have gambled a little bit, thinking the track was maybe going to stay drier all the way through the main event, and now all of a sudden the rain coming down as hard as we've seen it all day here in Anaheim. And you mix in the fact that we've got heavy traffic for James Stewart, changing track conditions. This thing is far from done. And let me throw one more thing out at you. Today is the 12th time James Stewart has started here in Anaheim. He's crashed 5 times here in Anaheim out of those 11 previous starts. He's also won here 5 times out of those 11 previous starts. You never know what's going to happen with James. If he stays upright, chances are pretty good he's going to win. Yeah, well, but on a night like tonight, you never know.
Yeah, and the track, as you can see, the rain on our screen in HD is starting to come down, and what's going to be difficult for James Stewart is going to be to dial it back some. You notice his mechanic rode smooth on the board. You can see down this main line, because Stewart had the track dialed, running a 59.6. Actually, Chad Reed ran a 59.4, was his best lap. Chad Reed absolutely on the gas right now, but is for James Stewart through these very treacherous, tricky rhythm sections is to know when the traction has gone away and when, with 5.5 laps to go, when it's time that I can pull back a little bit.
Stewart's best season here in Anaheim was back in 2007 when he swept all 3 rounds here at Angel Stadium.
and it only takes an instance to go into a turn here where the berms are hard packed on the top. You go and grab a little bit too much front brake, wash the front wheel out, so he's going to be very careful here.
Look at the rain coming down, Jeff. And we actually talked about the fact that he crashed here back in 2005 in a very muddy race. And boy, can you see that rain coming down as we wait for Chad Reed. There he is in that #1 Rockstar Makita Suzuki, working his way around Heath Moss.
He's not giving up. Chad Reed is on the gas still, but just a horrible lap that time around. Caught so much traffic. We just mentioned how he set the fastest lap of the night, a 59.4. That time around, Ralph, 104.8. Horrible lap for Chad Reed.
4 seconds slower than James Stewart.
Yeah, so that's a huge gap there that is really going to be a setback.
What a night it has been for Chad Reed. Two-time champ, the reigning champ, struggled when the gate dropped, and that set the tone for this main for him.
It did, and look, out of the gate, Chad Reed just way back in the back. Manages to get through. Makes this pass on Millsaps in traffic with all the downed riders everywhere.
Fortunately, before those yellow flags.
Yeah, but and this is the pass on Josh Grant. This is for second. I mean, just incredible rides by Chad Reed, but it's still second, and he can't afford to give those points up.
No, he sure can't. And unfortunately for Chad, his season has been...
Whoa!
Oh, that could have been huge.
Woo!
That could have been absolutely huge. Chad Reed's results page, as you look at the 2009 season, just full of second places, except for here in Anaheim 1, where he finished third behind Josh Grant and Andrew Short. And that was the night he really needed to capitalize on, because that's the night that Stewart finished 19th.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about as we take a look at this mistake by Chad Reed as he comes out of that tight right-hander. Here now he grabs a little handful, and watch him in that deep rut, just gasses it. And so fortunate that when he landed to not catch those ruts that are through there and to have it take the front wheel out. And as they run right now, Chad Reed, still your points leader, 3 points ahead of James Stewart. So the crash, and look how wet it is now, Ralph. Now
it's changed completely.
Really changed, yeah. And any riders that were thinking, okay, I'm going to pull some tear-offs because it's not raining, hopefully they still have some on here at the end of the race.
Aaron, it's looking like an absolute monsoon out there right now.
That's for sure, to say the least. But this is the one thing that all the riders on the line were saying, man, I sure hope that the conditions stay the way they are, because if it does start to rain halfway through this main event, that's when the conditions are going to be extremely slippery. It's a hard base underneath, a slimy top. It's just like riding on a skate rink, they said.
Well, and 3 laps to go, Jeff. Anything can happen. Just a little bit too much throttle, as you saw Reed trying to catch a glimpse of where is Stewart. The gap between the two, just under 11 seconds. But in these conditions, just a little bit too much throttle can change everything.
Yeah, and Chad Reed, I've noticed he has
6.5 seconds, Jeff. He's gained 4 seconds on it.
And it's tougher for the leader to get through these lapped riders.
And that's partially because of this right here. Watch this with Stewart.
Through the whoops here, starts to get a little sideways, starts slipping and sliding around. Whew, and this thing, like you said, it's not over yet.
And Jeff, I mean, it is coming down in buckets.
Same section.
Here's Stewart again through the whoops. Oh, boy, he gets through there so
well.
well.
The rear tire's just spinning. James is on the throttle, but the bike just will not move forward. That rear tire will not dig into this hard clay. Oh, and Stewart makes another mistake.
And that's going to cost him more time. And there's Reed at the back end of that straightaway. Here he comes.
And there's
he is closing in on Mike Alessi. Alessi gets out of the way. Reed can see Stewart now. That, Jeff, when you can see the guy you're chasing, making you the hunter, is so much easier to find that extra momentum. Final lap is coming up. Can Stewart hang on to take another win here this year?
Pressure is on James Stewart. He's led the whole race. He has 1 more lap to go. Mistake-free, and he will have another win in the books. But look at the rain coming down. Chad Reed at the top of your screen. It's so close.
Chad Reed doing everything he can to reel in James Stewart.
The crowd is going crazy here in Anaheim. The rain is coming down. No one has left the stadium.
Stewart going for his 30th career AMA Supercross win. He's 4th all-time on the list. There you see number 7.
Tons of lappers in front of him.
One of which is Ivan Tedesco. So they are working their way up to lapping 5th place right now. The range is coming down in buckets, and Stewart trying to get another win. This will be his 5th win of the year, his 5th in a row. He's 1 quarter away from it.
Wow.
James Stewart has done it. 5 wins in a row for number 7. James Stewart takes a huge win